Welcome to my channel, My Space, The Reclaimed Heirloom. My name is Christina. I was kindly asked if I could complete this project. I think we can transform this to look pretty amazing. So I'm going to walk you through all the details of everything I'm going to do, and let's get started.
So here are the supplies that we're going to use, and I'm going to talk you through each of these supplies as we continue. For this tutorial, I want to demonstrate a faux floating marble technique. I'm going to start with my base coat, which is old white, French linen, and Antoinette. You can use any chalk paint product you have or prefer to use. I am demonstrating in Annie Salone's chalk paints. You can use any paintbrush you have or prefer to use. I am using a 2-inch round chalk paint brush. It's thick, it's excellent for holding paint when you're doing a larger surface area. I first started with old white, then I added some French linen. Just random brush strokes. Remember to have a spray water bottle on hand, and it's always ideal to start with a moist paintbrush. My personal favorite painting brush, Stallmeister. I paint a lot. With these brushes, they can withstand the abuse, so the quality is absolutely amazing. So here I'm adding Antoinette, a very, very pale pink tone. So I'm adding clear glaze, and this is Glazed Effects by General Finishes. And as I continue, I'm going to add another coat of my base tones, which will be old white, French linen, and Antoinette. I am just applying my second coat of paint colors to blend with my clear glaze. So now I want to demonstrate my meshing applicator, which will blend my colors much quicker and so much easier for my marble base. This tool is a thick synthetic pad. It's actually picking up and pushing down the paint, literally mashing the color tones together. This is creating a nice smooth blend. The tool works much quicker for blending larger surface areas versus a paintbrush. Remember to offload excess paint onto a rag from your meshing applicator. I have 3 artist brushes ready to go. I now want to create marble veins. My first set of veins I will mesh with the meshing applicator. This is what I call deep veins, starting with the appearance of marble. I'll explain more as we go. So for these deep veins, I am using Scandinavian pink. So for this project, I added a glaze extender, also created by General Finishes. You just need a few drops in your clear glaze, and that's all you need. I love working with clear glaze for blending purposes, because this way I don't have to keep adding water as I'm working. You can just use water instead of clear glaze, but you will need to add water lightly and quite frequently. So with a clean, dry paintbrush, you can use any paintbrush for this, I am sweeping side to side very, very lightly. What I'm doing here is creating superficial veins. Basically, these are defined veins at the top of the surface of a marble. Going back to why I started with 3 artist brushes, I wanted 3 different colors in my superficial veins. 1 in graphite, black, 1 in Antoinette, pale pink, and 1 in Scandinavian pink. As you continue to do any of your sweeping, it's good to have a clean rag or a shop towel on hand so you can offload any of the excess paint that's building on your dry brush. So for any reason you don't like something and you need to make changes, just add some clear glaze, give it a wipe away, and you want to change and add new veins, no problem. Just dip back into your artist brush, add your veins, and you're good to go. This is a very forgiving process and super easy to control. I decided to add graphite to the rim of the entire table to separate the marble top from the table base. This also creates a little more dimension. And remember, start with a moist paintbrush. As I mentioned at the beginning of this project, I'm actually taking over an already painted table and kind of recreating something new rather than a straight up one color paint job. I didn't like the base pink, so I'm changing it to French linen, and we'll add more depth and we'll explain as I go. I completed with 2 coats of French linen. Once it's completely dry, I am now going to add clear wax to seal it. With clear wax, always use a lint-free cloth or a cheesecloth. Next, I added some black wax for an aged effect and dimensions. Once I've applied it everywhere, I went back with a small amount of clear wax and wiped it back, which basically will leave a nice aged shadowed effect.
Because this is going to be used as kind of a heavily used working table / kitchen table, I do recommend, and you can do this to any of your chalk paint projects, is using a lacquer, a water-based lacquer. So I really wanted to show you this marble with a feather, and I just got it today. So I couldn't do that. I had to improvise with the artist brush. But I actually have another request to do a marble, and I'm going to do another completely different color and different shade tone. So I will demonstrate with the feather. I get a lot of comments and inquiries, which is great, in retrospect to colors and color choices. And I just kind of go with what I see and what I feel and see what I can pull together as a transaction. And you know, trust me, sometimes what I do can mess up too, and it didn't look as wonderful in a showcase as it did in my head. But I wanted to quickly show you guys this new magazine that Annie Salone has been publishing. She's got all kinds of different arts and types of art styles in these books. It's fantastic. But where I'm going with this is, what really helps, especially when you're all over the place and you're not sure what color you want to use versus the colors you have, especially if it's a personal item that you're wanting to change, use the color wheel. And depending on the paint product that you currently use, I'm sure they have color wheels, but Annie Salone made a color wheel giving you the kind of the neutral tones all around the outside. And then she's broken down all her color palette, giving you like cool, this is the kind of the cooler side, this is the warmer side. And sometimes what really helps, and I'm going to try to bring this in a little bit closer here, just so you can kind of get an idea how they're all broken down. So if you look at, say, Aubusson blue, and then you kind of run, and then you look at Scandinavian pink. So these make really nice complementary colors. So when you're trying to pull that project together and you're trying to figure out a warm undertone, so when you hear me say in my other tutorials like low lights and highlights and things like that, this is fantastic because not only is she giving you that, she's also kind of giving you that outer natural tone that you may want to consider going with. That certainly doesn't mean that's what you have to go with, but sometimes when we get a little bit, I don't know, we're just indecisive on what we want. So sometimes just kind of sitting around and putting it together, I thought, you know, there's all kinds of color wheel images even on Google and things like that. Finally got a flogging brush, and I'm really excited to use this. Flogging is a technique that I've seen, and I've seen in Annie Sloan's blogs, and she's done some just amazing stuff, and I want to try to mimic this texture that you're done with a flogging brush, and I'm going to show you guys in a future tutorial how to do this because it does look really cool. Not all the pieces I get have these beautiful woodworks and detail, and they're just flat and boring. So I think if we can come up with some really cool ideas on how to give it this 3D dimension and make things pop. If you like this tutorial, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, any questions, don't hesitate to leave comments in the comment box below. I will definitely get back to you. As well as, don't forget to subscribe. I've got some really, really cool ideas that as I've already shared, that I can't wait to share with you. So we've got flogging, combing, we've got faux plank wood, and this is all with chalk paint. And then we're gonna do the custom color wax. We're also gonna do a rag roll and so much more. So definitely subscribe. We got some really cool stuff coming, and yeah, I can't wait to share them with you. We'll see you soon.